Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News for this Monday, December 16. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Local Government Minister Desmond Mckenzie is this afternoon making an urgent appeal for a reduction in crime. With the details, here's TVJ's OSHANE Masters.
The minister's appeal comes following the latest crime statistics, which show there were 1,273 murders from January to December 14 in this year. This is an increase in murders of 3%. Speaking at the Christmas tree lighting ceremony in St. James last night, he said that the rampant acts of criminality in the country are like sores. It's why he's calling for an inclusive approach to end the spate of murders.
Let us use this Christmas as a means of not just celebrating the birth of Christ, but use this Christmas to begin to fight against the cancer that is called crime and violence that is destroying the lives of many innocent Jamaicans.
Mr. Mckenzie says the only way Jamaica's crime situation can be reduced is if each individual is his brother's keeper.
So when men appoint unto themselves to become judge and jury, let us remember, brothers and sisters, that crime have no respect for individuals. So whether you're a PNP or a GLP, whether you're a Roman Catholic or a Presbyterian or a revivalist, all of us must come as one in the fight against crime.
In the meantime, Montego Bay's Mayor Homer Davis has expressed hope that the crime situation in St. James will be brought under control.
I am confident that within short order, the security forces will put a solid lid on what we are now facing. This evening, I bring a message of hope, a message of positivity, and a message of optimism that 2020 will be the year in which we take full control of our parish and our city, and indeed Jamaica.
OSHANE Masters, TVJ News.
And as the festive season approaches, the Manchester Police are beefing up operations, particularly in the town of Mandeville. Superintendent in charge of Manchester, Gabriel Francis, gave an update at a recent tree lighting ceremony. He said so far 20 men have been arrested. It's believed the men are fleeing from Clarendon, which is under a state of public emergency.
We have packed them and we have given them their visa and shipped them right back to Clarendon, where they are in the hotels, the cells over there.
He also explained that between January to December, 28 illegal firearms have been seized, which is 19 more when compared to the corresponding period last year.
In addition, year to date, we have seized 181 rounds of ammunition from the streets. This could really mean 181 lives, but those are now in safe custody.
A bridge which collapsed, resulting in the closure of Job Lane in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, has been fixed, finally. But the work was not done by the National Works Agency. TVJ's KRISTA Campbell explains.
Work underway on Job Lane in Spanish Town, St. Catherine. An early Christmas gift which for residents, business operators and motorists didn't come easy. Spanish Town Mayor Norman Scott says residents have been pressuring him to act, even though the road is the National Works Agency NAA's responsibility.
I decided that I'm going to speak with my minister, who gave me the go-ahead to use our SGR and to have the road reopened for the Christmas period. And I'm hoping that we'll be reimbursed by the National Works Agency. The National Works Agency said they were doing scopes and they were doing estimates and all kind of things. So I don't know that after we have done this repair, they are going to come back and do other work to it. But insofar as what I see happening here, it looked to me that it's going to be something permanent.
The road was closed after a bridge collapsed during heavy rains between August and September this year. The closure causing headaches for motorists who turned to alternative routes through the nearby Sunnyside community, which was struggling with bad road conditions.
Really delighted because it denies the garbage pollution, and I mean, we will have a little more quietness in the community. So we are really glad, but we need our road to be fixed because as you can see, we get some shingles from the councillor and fill up the holes. So it is not that bad, but we need the top to go on it, that we can have a smooth road.
President of the Sunnyside Citizens Association, Arnold Dennis, says the community should also be cleaner once Job Lane is reopened.
Vehicles that come through the community, they just throw the garbage in the community. So in the morning I have to go around and just collecting the garbage, and it's really a awful sight.
KRISTA Campbell, TVJ News.
Attorney at law Clive Monroe Jr. is suggesting that residents affected by noise from entertainment events could successfully mount a challenge against the promoters, even if the event is being held within hours permitted under the law. His comments follow the approval of changes to the Noise Abatement Act, which allows persons 2 more hours to host events such as parties.
Noise is always there if you're doing something out of the pale and it affects my proprietary rights and it causes me injury. My recourse remains to go to the court, and I think this is what they don't fully appreciate as a part of the discussion about the competing interests.
And it's time for a break, but stay with us. We have more stories right after these messages. Welcome back, and we're continuing the news. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says the completed Welcome to Montego Bay sign cost the government less than the initial estimate of $17 million. While speaking at the official unveiling ceremony, Mr. Bartlett says despite outcry from many, the business community of Montego Bay had confidence in the project. They even offset a portion of the cost.
This sign, this invitation to the world, to Jamaica, this physical presence of our warm feeling and our excitement of having people come to our shores, because that's what this represents, has to be more than just a simple piece of artistic presence in an area. It has to have more value than that. It must speak to people, it must invite them, it must make them feel comfortable, and what make them say, yes, I want to share in this. So much so that a piece of me can be represented whether by celluloid or by whatever type of media we want to use to represent my presence here in Jamaica. And so the taxpayers of Jamaica spent $9.7 million and the private sector put $5 million, and we have a facility that came out at $14.7 million.
The sign was completed in January this year. Its official unveiling coincided with the opening of the 2019-2020 winter tourist season. The head office of the Passport Immigration and Citizenship Agency PICA is to be relocated from Constant Spring Road in St. Andrew. It will move to lands between West Kings House Road and North Avenue. Parking concerns are among the factors that have influenced the relocation.
We have acquired the land. The government has given permission to develop the concept and the project for our new head office. And we're hoping that within the next 2 years, we will be sharing an opening for a state-of-the-art head office.
6 months after announcing that motorists will be compensated for receiving contaminated gas, the government is now close to begin making payouts. In late July, Energy Minister Favour Williams revealed that Petrojam was directed to ensure the motorists receive compensation. The total payout was set at $24.5 million. In an update to our news center, Permanent Secretary in the Energy Ministry, Carol Palmer, said a system has been developed for affected motorists to be paid by early 2020. Disbursements will be made via the Consumer Affairs Commission.
Intention to compensate the persons affected who we've gotten a submission from MICAF coming from the Consumer Affairs Commission, and we are now finalizing the works so that the money can be paid over to that entity.
In late 2015, hundreds of motorists complained of vehicular problems associated with bad gas. The Petroleum Trade Reform Committee was appointed by the government to probe the bad gas but was unable to specifically identify the source of the contaminated fuel. Meanwhile, the Jamaica Gasoline Retailers Association says the compensation will help to rebuild confidence in the industry. JGRA President Gregory Chong says he will be communicating with the Energy Ministry to ascertain how payments will be made. A preliminary report is to be submitted today to the Technology Minister and the Office of Utilities Regulation on Saturday's disruption in mobile phone service by telecommunications company Flow. A statement from the company says service has been restored. Last night, Flow's country manager Stephen Price told our news center that a probe is still underway into the disruption.
Something happened yesterday around the major power cut that took place in the afternoon around 4 or 5 o'clock. We worked assiduously through the night along with Ericsson in order to ensure that we get back up all nodes and everything up. We got it back up this morning. What we sent a notice out to our customers. If there was anybody with any remaining issues, we asked that they restart their devices, and they should have been back in order. We're currently still monitoring the network, just trying to make sure that everything is okay. We'll be issuing a report to the OUR and to the Minister on Monday, just to give her an understanding of exactly what transpired.
And in sports, Jason Lawrence had an easy straight sets win over Cole McNair in Sunday's second day of the Jane Bank Open Tennis Championship at the Ligonier Club. Lawson won 6-1, 6-1 in 32 minutes. Also progressing were Dwayne Miller, who beat Julius Buggs 6-4, 6-4, David Goldsmith, who had a 6-love, 6-love win over Wayne Luchin, and Chris Barrett, who had 6-3, 6-2 victory over Garen Williams. Sunday's winners will join Monday's main draw.
Tomorrow we will be having action from Dimitri Bird, Jacob Bicknell, Blaze Bicknell, Randy Phillips. All the top players in the tournament will be taking part tomorrow in their first round matches. So we'll be having a very, very exciting evening of tennis.
There is $750,000 in prize money for this year's 12th staging. And Jamaica will be searching for their first win of the Squash World Cup as they take on Kuwait in Washington, D.C. this afternoon. The Jamaican team of Chris Binney, Lewis Walters and Bruce Burrows lost 3-0 to Hong Kong in their opening game on Sunday, while Kuwait fell to the number 7 seed Australia by the same scoreline. Match time is 3 o'clock. Jamaica is the number 17 seed, while Kuwait is rated at number 21. And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for the Primetime News Package. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.